After a second look, it is determined that the receiver was actually short of the line to gain. It will be Detroit's ball, first down. Also, we are going to give Detroit back their challenge and their timeout.
Elbow, forearm, he's going to be down.
The result of the play is a touchdown.
And then the flag that was thrown on this was picked up.
I don't know, did it get the face mask?
Only do that if you're telling the official you're reporting.
The Lions hangover.
What is sparkly and good, everybody? I am Brad. You are watching and listening, I should say, to the Lions Hangover podcast. Don't forget, you can find me on all social medias. That's Facebook, X, and Instagram, and of course, TikTok. Does TikTok really count as social media? I don't know if it counts as social media. Let's say it does. But anyway, that's where you can find me. I love them TikToks now, those tickety talks. Let's see. Please rate and subscribe the show. I appreciate it. Sorry I'm getting to this one late. You know, that's what happens on Monday Night Football. And, you have a busy life. So I'm getting to it now before my memory fades any further about the game. What can I say? Let's talk about the Lions. The Lions win 24-9 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was a good Monday night game, but at the same time, the Lions lacked certain things. I don't know how to describe this. It's like the game was never in doubt. I was never worried that Tampa Bay was going to win, but yet it didn't seem like the Lions played up to their potential. There was a missed field goal. Goff threw an interception. There was also a fumble. There were some overthrows. Like Goff never really threw it deep. His biggest shot was to Tesla in the end zone, and it was overthrown. Jamison Williams, he didn't really get much attention. I don't think he officially had any targets because he had the offensive pass interference, so that wiped out that stat. Montgomery wasn't involved, and that's after Dan Campbell said previously that he wants to get Montgomery more involved, which I think he should. He's being used rarely, but the story of the game is obviously Jahmyr Gibbs. He had a career high, let's see, what did he do? Career high 218 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. Of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown had a touchdown. We'll get to all of the game summary here coming up. On the other side of the ball, Aleem McNeil was back, and they are calling it the Legion of Whom. Get it? The Legion of Whom instead of the Legion of Doom, but of whom, because nobody knew the names of the defensive backs that were playing outside of Amik Robertson, which I have to say Amik Robertson has gained miles in my standings board. He is quickly becoming one of my favorite players, and he seems to be the most durable. You know, when everybody else is getting injured, even last year, he was the only one. Excuse me, I'm going to yawn. He's the only one that doesn't seem to get injured. Of course, he got injured in that Washington game, and that's when things really took a turn for the worst last season in the playoffs. But he's been the most durable. He's been the most consistent, the most reliable. So shout out to you, Amik Robertson. I know he got a game ball. I thought Derek Barnes played amazing. Aleem McNeil was back, and he had a batted down pass. I thought he played fantastic. Really great to see him back, and it actually looked like he didn't miss a step. The Lions were in the backfield a lot, putting pressure on Baker Mayfield. But even when the Lions weren't putting pressure on Mayfield, his passes looked horrible. He was off all day. I think there was one drop. Was it? I can't remember who's out. I'll get to it soon, though. It was Mike Evans, right? He was the one healthy guy. And Egbuka played as well, and which surprised me because he was on the injury report as out. But, yeah, Evans broke his collarbone, and it seems like he's going to be out for a long time. But yeah, they had an almost non-existent running game, literally little to nothing on the ground for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think Baker Mayfield played up to his potential. I thought he had a bad game, but the Lions didn't give him much to work with either. So I feel like both deserve credit there as far as like Baker Mayfield having an off day and the Lions just played solid. Officiating wise, what a crazy game. I've never heard of after a second look, but of course we all know when you throw a challenge and there's a review, they don't just review what you ask them to. Everything is under review, and that is where the second look came from, but they took long enough to get it. However, the important thing is they got it right, and I think we deserved that. I don't think they were doing it to make up for us from last week against Kansas City, but I do think they wanted to make sure that they got it right because of last week, which I do think they did get right. Now, the one thing they did get wrong was the offensive pass interference on JMO. I don't think that was the case. I'm not sure what is going on there. I don't know if it's a Jared Goff problem or a JMO problem, but I've noticed the last few weeks that the Lions are not taking shots down the field. I did notice that when they were taking shots down the field early in the season, they weren't connecting at a high rate. So I don't know if Jared Goff is afraid to throw the ball deep. And I get it, he's just playing smart. And honestly, whatever works, do that. And this is obviously working. Those short passes to Amon-Ra St. Brown, to even Brock Wright. I thought Brock Wright had a good game. And Sam Laporta. Like those dump-off passes, Jahmyr Gibbs as well. I definitely want to see David Montgomery involved a little bit more in the run game and even in the pass game. Like, let's get him some touches. And it's hard to do because we have such a prolific offense. Who's to say who gets the ball when? So I think you just have to go with who's hot as well. However, just as a fan of David Montgomery, I would like to see him get more touches. And he just needs more of an opportunity because Gibbs, it's like Gibbs ran the ball 10 times before he had like a huge 80-yard run or something like that. You know, it's like not every time you touch the ball is going to be a home run. You just have to keep setting it up and chipping it away for your opportunity. And I don't feel like Montgomery's getting enough opportunity to showcase what he's doing. But again, this is just nitpicking on a really good game. So we have to talk about something. So let's talk about what is going wrong, because you keep an eye on that stuff, and then further on down the line, it might be exposed as a weakness. Taylor Decker came back. I thought he played great. And, of course, Penei Sewell, once again, proving that he's the best offensive tackle in the game, and there's no doubt about that. Was it the Jahmyr Gibbs run that he was doing? He was keeping up with Jahmyr Gibbs almost. He did miss the block down the field, and I think that led to, I think it was Jahmyr Gibbs. But, yeah. Overall, it was a good game. We weren't desperate yet, but if we had lost, it would have put us in a desperate position coming up against Minnesota in week 9. Of course, we have the bye week this week. Yeah, so with that, let's get to the flowers of the game, if you will. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs have both produced touchdowns in the same game 18 times. 18. And they've only played together for 3 seasons. This establishes a new franchise record, passing the previous mark of 17 by Barry Sanders and Herman Moore, which is awesome. I'm glad these two guys are the ones breaking the record. However, it's kind of sad for Barry Sanders and Herman Moore because they played 8 or 9 years together, and these guys passed them in like 3 seasons. So, but that just goes to show how powerful our offense is, you know, and how inconsistent the offenses of yesteryear were. Of all the NFL teams through week 7, the Lions defense ranks first in forced fumbles with 9. Second in passes deflected with 42. Third in sacks with 23, which I'm super happy about because remember last year after Hutch got injured, it was like we were dead last in sacks and getting pressures on the quarterback. And they're also tied for 6th with interceptions with 8. So not too shabby, guys. Not too shabby at all. Excuse me, I got gas in the chest. Jahmyr Gibbs joins Billy Sims as the only players in franchise history to produce 70-plus scrimmage yards and a touchdown in 6 straight home games. Of course, we all know that the Lions are, 13-3? Let me find this here. 13-3 in night games, and have won 5 straight Monday Night Football games. This is all under Dan Campbell. So the Lions are made for primetime. Of course, their third loss in primetime was just last week in Kansas City. The Lions, of course, jump up to 5-2 on the year, and the Bucs fall to 5-2 on the season. This is important. This is going to come into play later in the season when it is playoff time. And if you are not counting the playoff game last season and the first game of this season, it has been 1,086 days since the Lions have lost back-to-back games. Also, through 7 weeks, the Lions' defense is ranked 8th as far as defensive yards allowed, with an even 300. They've also only allowed 19 touchdowns. The 19 touchdowns, that's kind of middle of the pack. There's lots of teams that have only allowed 11 touchdowns, too, after 7 weeks. But the rushing defense, the Lions are 5th, and they are only allowing 87.7 yards per game. Number 1 is the Seattle Seahawks with 75.7 yards per game. And we were talking about forced fumbles. The Lions are in first place with forced fumbles with 9. Second place is the Bills with 8. And third place is the Vikings with 8, or I guess tied. There's a few teams tied. So the Vikings have 8, and the 49ers have 8 as well. This is going to come in handy when we play the Vikings in Week 9. All right, so let's start it off. On the first drive of the game, the Lions score a touchdown. On this 27-yard pass from Jared Goff is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Goff over the middle. He's got St. Brown, and he's got a touchdown.
And a rookie, of course, he slipped, but that's a tough matchup. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Now, on the Bucs' first drive of the game, they are forced into a 3-and-out, which I said the Lions' defense was playing fantastic. Now, on the next Lions drive, there was a fumble by Jared Goff, and that was recovered by Tampa Bay, obviously. Tampa Bay was once again forced to a 3-and-out, and then on the next drive, the Lions turned the ball over on downs, and this was the deep throw to Isaac Tesla. So the Lions turned the ball over on downs in the red zone. I do think that was a little bit of an issue. Now, Tampa Bay's next drive, they go a 4-and-out, and that's at the beginning of the second quarter. Then the Lions punt, then the Bucs punt, and then the Lions get a touchdown. It is a 78-yard touchdown by Jahmyr Gibbs.
Right up the gut, there goes Gibbs. Foot race. Winfield can't get there. Touchdown, Lions.
If you're keeping track, that makes the score 14-0. Then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers punt the ball. The Lions punt the ball. Then there's a fumble recovered by Aiden Hutchinson. I believe that's his first fumble recovery on the season so far. This sets up a missed 54-yard field goal from Jake Bates. Then on the next play is a crazy interception from Baker Mayfield.
Comes underneath, and it's Otten in a fight with Mollett.
That might be Mollett's ball. Yeah, you look at it, it looked like I thought he might have been able to rip it out, but Otten's able to hang on to it as well, and the tie goes to the offense. Well, even Cade Otten, you see it's on his shoulder pad, and Mollett was right there. For him to hang on to that with one hand. I mean, that's a great job by Cade Otten, because it sure looks like Mollett has the ball.
Oddly enough, though, Jared Goff says anything you can do, I can do better, and he throws an interception to Jacoby Dean. This sets up a field goal by Chase McLaughlin. I know how to pronounce his last name. Trust me on this one. That is a 53-yard field goal. That is good. That makes the score 14-3 going into the half. Now the Bucs get the ball starting the second half, and they score a touchdown, a 22-yard touchdown pass. That's Baker Mayfield to Tez Johnson. That makes the score 14-9. Now the Bucs go for a 2-point conversion, and that is successfully denied. Now on the Lions' next drive, they score a 5-yard touchdown from Jahmyr Gibbs. The Bucs punt the ball on their next drive. Lions punt. Then there's a turnover on downs from the Bucs, and then there's this crazy wonky field goal by Jake Bates, 58-yarder, but it is good.
And Bates banks it in.
Take another look. Some are saying it might not have gone in.
Well, here's a definitive look off the right upright, and that went in.
That makes the score 24-9. That is the final score of the game. The Lions just punt, and the Bucs turn over on downs after that. So let's talk about stats, the part that I don't need to keep pausing for. Baker Mayfield went 28 of 50 for 228 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. He was sacked 4 times, and he finished the game with a quarterback rating of 66.1. Rachaad White ran the ball 10 times for 38 yards. He was the team's leading rusher. Baker Mayfield surprisingly has no stats for rushing yards, so yeah, he never scrambled at all. Like I said, he went 28 of 50. That's pretty bad when you're missing 22, or when you have 22 incompletions. Cade Otton was the leading receiver. He caught the ball 7 times for 65 yards. Tez Johnson had 4 catches for 58 yards and their lone touchdown. Emeka Egbuka had 4 catches for 58 yards, and Sterling Shepard had 7 catches for 25 yards. Mike Evans, like I said, was targeted he was targeted 4 times, but he had the one big drop, which was good because that would have been a momentum shifter at that point. Sterling Shepard fumbled the ball 1 time, and Baker Mayfield fumbled the ball, but they recovered it. Now, their top 5 tacklers, Tyke Smith had 13 tackles, 8 solo. He also had 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Servacia, sorry, I've never seen a first name like that. Dennis, we'll just say Dennis, number 8. He had 12 tackles, 8 solo, 1 sack as well. They did get pressure on Goff today. Goff was also sacked 4 times. I don't think it was Goff's most solid game. Like I said, I'm really underwhelmed with his ability to throw downfield or his willingness to throw downfield. I know he can do it, but he seems a little bit trigger shy or something. Then Levante David, he had 7 tackles, 1 solo, and Anthony Nelson had 5 tackles, 3 solo. He also had 1 of the sacks, and Yaya Diaby had another sack as well. Chase McLaughlin went 1 for 1 with the field goal, and he didn't get a chance to kick any extra points. Their punter, Riley Dixon, punted the ball 6 times for 263 yards, average of 43.8. He was inside the 20 4 times. Now, let's talk about the good guys. Jared Goff went 20 of 29 for 241 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. He had a quarterback rating of 91.3. So statistically, he was exceptional. But if you watched him, he was not the same Jared Goff, and he does lack aggressiveness. Again, not a huge complaint. If what's working is smarter, then go with what's working. Obviously, you don't want to turn the ball over. He did turn the ball over. You don't want to, and I think he's making smart plays. That's not my gripe. I'm just looking for a little bit more sex appeal on offense. So I would like to see them throw deep just a couple times just to keep the defense honest. You have to let them think that you could do it at any moment. Sooner or later, it's going to pay off. Yeah, it's going to be a mistake every now and then, but that's the risk you pay. High risk, high reward. Right now, I just feel like our offense is going in low risk, low reward mode, and it's paying off, but one day you're going to have to throw it deep, and you need to make sure that you can do it. Jahmyr Gibbs, like we were saying, ran the ball 17 times for 136 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. David Montgomery ran the ball 13 times for only 21 yards, and Jared Goff gets credit with 2 rushes for 7 yards. Vanilla Vic. Top 5 receivers on the board. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 6 catches for 86 yards and a touchdown. His longest was 27. That touchdown at the opening drive. Jahmyr Gibbs had 3 receptions for 82 yards. His longest was 30 yards. Brock Wright had 3 catches for 23 yards, and David Montgomery had 2 catches for 18 yards. Jared Goff had 1 fumble and he lost it, and Hutchinson recovered the fumble. Now, the top 5 tacklers on the board for the Lions: Eric Hallett, number 36, part of the Legion of Whom. That's what I've been hearing it. I'm just passing it on because I like it. He had 8 tackles, 6 solo. Jack Campbell had 8 tackles, 3 solo, and a sack. Arthur Millette had 5 tackles, 5 solo. He's also the one with that interception. Derek Barnes, I thought, had a great game. 5 tackles, 2 solo, and a sack. Tyrus Wheat, he had 3 tackles. He's down the list, but he had 3 tackles, 1 solo, and he gets credit for 1.5 sacks. Where's the other half sack? Al Quadin Muhammad, he had the 1 tackle, and he gets credit for the half sack. Arthur Millette, he's the one with that interception. Now, Jake Bates was 1 for 2 on field goals. His longest was 58. That boinker off the crossbeam, and he was 3 for 3 on extra points. Jack Fox punted the ball 5 times. Wow. With an average of 51.2, and he was inside the 20 one time. His longest was 66 yards. Now, the team stats: Lions had 17 first downs. The Bucs only had 15. They were 3 for 13, the Lions, on 3rd down, and the Bucs were 4 for 16. 4th down, the Bucs were 2 for 5. The Lions were 1 for 2. Bucs ran 66 total plays of offense. The Lions ran 65. Now, the Bucs were 0 for 1 in the red zone. The Lions were 1 for 2 in the red zone. Both teams were penalized 6 times. The Bucs had 35 yards, and the Lions had 50 yards. They both had 2 turnovers, and the Bucs had the ball for 28 minutes, 21 seconds, and the Lions had the ball for 31 minutes, 39 seconds. The total attendance today at Ford Field was 64,656. I have no idea why I did that accent. That brings us through all of the stats there, and that wraps up the episode. These are my final thoughts. I need to see more from J-Mo and David Montgomery, and the Lions need to enable them to make that happen. I have a newfound confidence in our defense. I'm convinced that we have a few guys in depth now that I feel like should be brought back. This is a free agent year for Amik Robinson. I feel like he should be brought back next year just based on his durability alone. This is 2 years in a row now so far. Now we haven't finished this season out, of course, and anything could happen, and I hope everybody is healthy from this point forward. But however, Amik Robertson has been proven to be a workhorse. He's somebody that does everything that is asked of him, and I just think he's a terrific player. So you need somebody that you can rely on, and I feel like Amik Robertson is that guy. I feel like we have a lot of guys that are starting to be labeled injury-prone. Ennis Rakestraw is probably one of them. Onzarike is one of them, and we need guys. And I understand that, like, football is a tough game. That's not an insult to anybody that gets injured. Like, I'm not, nothing on that. But this is a sport. This is a business, and you need people that can show up and go to work. And I just feel like Amik Robertson has done that successfully now for 2 years, and I feel like he deserves a contract to come back. He's just somebody that's reliable, and those are the kind of guys that you need on your team. With that said, don't forget, guys, I have a contest going on. This is the last week. I'll be picking a winner on Sunday, and I'll be contacting them, and I will let them choose one of 5 prizes, 4 bobbleheads and 1 Barry Sanders bronze statue replica. The bobbleheads are, see if I can do this without turning around, David Montgomery, Calvin Johnson, Penei Sewell, and Brad Holmes, and of course the Barry Sanders statue replica. All you have to do is just show me that you follow me either where you listen to the podcast or on YouTube. Just let me know that you've subscribed on YouTube or you've subscribed and followed on your favorite podcast forum. This is a great thing to do. It's fun, and you will get a bobblehead. You get to pick your prize. You get to pick your prize. Who gets to pick your prize? Usually it's like, hey, this is your prize. Take it. No, I'm giving you the option. And all those bobbleheads are right here. Boom. Boom. Yeah. So you have that coming to you. It's special, isn't it? All right. That's it for me, guys. I hope you've had fun. I'll be back not next week. Not Thursday. Yeah, so I guess next week, but just not this week. I know normally I'd be doing my pregame show tomorrow because today's Wednesday, but you probably won't see this until Thursday. So, yeah, sorry for the late wrap up here, but we got this week over with. So I'll be back next Thursday with the pregame show for the Minnesota Vikings. Thanks again, everybody. Please rate and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.